Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to do my Hanger Chat number 6 in two parts. This is an interview with Cliff Harvey, and me and Cliff have been talking to each other for hours and hours and hours really before this interview. However, this went on for actually over 3 hours, and it was so difficult to edit out things because he's such an interesting chap. So we're going to make the first one a long one, and I don't know if you've got the patience to watch it all, but there's certainly a lot going on there. He talks about what he does for his work, and that he's got a pilot's license and all these sort of things. What he used to do for a living. We have a chat about cars and stuff like that there, and I'm ever so sorry, but it's well over 3 hours. I've had to narrow it down into two pieces. The first one is an hour and a half, and I apologise for that, but he's such an interesting chap. You'd be losing a lot, and I've cut a lot out. Otherwise, it would have been well over 3 hours, and I think even as it is, it's a lot. So please enjoy. This is Hanger Chats 6A, followed on by Hanger Chat 6B. Okay. Let me know if it's too long, or if you got bored, or fell asleep, or put a Japanese sword through your chest. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Cheerio. Ladies and gents, the Hanger Chat number 6. I'd like to welcome Mr. Cliff Harvey of international, multinational, and probably space age. What's the name? So, say hello, Cliff.
Yes. Hello, guys. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me on, Nick. It's a pleasure to be on the Great Nick's interview channel. Yeah.
Well, I have been asked by somebody that are you aware of Purcell Aviation Channel?
Oh, Purcell. Yeah, it's Gina, isn't it?
Gina. Yeah. So somebody's asked me to interview Gina.
Oh, well, yes, that'd be nice.
It would be nice.
She speaks very well, actually, doesn't she? So
she speaks well of you.
Oh, does she?
I bet she doesn't know me from Adam, but I'll be in contact with her, and I'll see if she's up for a chat anyway. But
yeah, maybe Hubster can look in as well. She calls her husband Hubster, doesn't she? I'm not sure.
I'm unsure. The last time I watched the channel, she had the ME 109, which I was quite taken with. I might just delve into that actually, because I need to do more foamies. I need to do more foamies because there's the spectrum, yeah. But anyway, it's less about me and it's more about you, Cliff. So, Cliff, there be dragons. What's happening with the dragon?
Where to start, eh? It started here with my Mark 1, which is still hanging on the wall proudly.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's currently up to, the biplane, which is ready for its another go.
Oh, that's absolutely super. You made a lovely job of those wings.
The evolution. Actually, I had a friend round yesterday. He said, "How do you cover so well?" I just had lots of heat and stretch it out, But it's a tough wing, so it doesn't warp, so you can really heat it up.
Yeah.
That's the latest incarnation, which I want to get flying right, and then I can put a plan together for that one.
Now, this is the thing, isn't it, with covering? You cover something, you think, "Oh, I've made a lovely job. I'm really happy with that," and then you find out you've got a warp in it. And then...
Right. Well, yeah, warps are quite easy to get out, actually. So
yeah,
you just got to bend it the other way, a couple of weights down, and bend it, a bit of pack in, and heat it up, and it all re-stretches, and the warp's gone. So
I normally end up putting it between my knees, holding it one end with a hairdryer or a heater.
Yeah, I've done that too.
Yeah, it's easier if you get the other.
Once the covering just goes slack and tightens up again in the new position, the warp's gone, hasn't it? So that works really well. So the Da Vinci. So I've got the dragon, of course. You can see it back there.
It is, and I've seen the video of this flying.
Yeah, the video went up. Oh, this morning actually. Yeah.
Yeah, this morning.
I'll do it a few days ago.
How to train your dragon?
Yeah, I haven't watched it. No. But I heard of it. Isn't there a dragon called Clifford, or is that the dog?
I don't know. I'm not. It's never really my sort of movie. I have seen it, but I'm not into
no kid stuff. But there it is. It flew off the board actually, but then it would do because it's exactly the same as the other ones. The difference with this kit was it was the first production kit, so you know, it was really a test of how it all went together, and then making small changes. And so, but because how are you going to finish it? And somebody commented on one of the videos, why don't you do one as a dragon? So that's what I've done. So a bit of fun, you know.
How about a bat?
A bat? Well, it kind of I've got a bit Da Vinci crazy, haven't I? But
it's all live, folks. It's none of this is no stunt people involved.
Yeah, I mean, the Mark 1 was more bat-like than any of them.
Yeah.
I might have another go at it, but I think it was the wing was twisting as it flew. So I think with an upright and some rigging wires, it would hold its shape and it would probably fly okay. But the fuselage is a bit beaten up now. But
it's going to look like a Blériot.
I just keep it for sentimental reasons now, you know, because I've still got loads of this pink fabric. What am I going to do with it? Could always make a shower curtain, I suppose.
Well, no, there's nothing wrong with that, my friend. I mean, we're all into rainbows now.
What's that?
You don't want to know. I'm just trying to keep out of trouble.
I'm just going to sip out of my Barren Flights mug.
Oh, you've got one of those expensive mugs, haven't you? I heard
I've been sipping out of it for the last hour, waiting for us to come on. Now I'm going to move on to my Cliff Harvey mug, which isn't half as stylish.
Ooh,
and my other mug,
got a Cliff Harvey mug.
My other mug here is my Microaces mug, which is those little foam models which I fly sometimes. So John Porter makes those little models, and I met him at High Wycombe, and he said, all the videos you've done for the channel, he said, I'll bring you a mug. And when we got up there, I had to ask him 3 times, where's my mug? Because I wanted that mug. But it's been in loads of videos, you know. So, but it's not, they're nice mugs, all the same, aren't they? But yeah. I like flying mugs, so a bit of fun, aren't they?
I think it's a very good occupation to collect your mugs from your admirers.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Everyone has to have a mug, haven't they? What else was I going to say? Yeah, you can probably see the plan hanging up there. Look.
Yes. This is the sellotape board.
Yeah, that's just printed out on my printer and sellotaped together, just to check everything works, you know. But I have got the plans available now on Shopify, which is a well-known channel for selling things on. But you can have a little storefront. It's pretty cheap to set up, like I've done, the cheapest. Excuse me. But you can sell anything you want on there. But interestingly, this week YouTube announced, this is just between me and you and everybody else. Anyway, it's not a secret. YouTube had just announced a deal with Shopify, whereby you can actually have links to your, like in my case, plan directly on under the video, so you can just click on it and buy the plan. So people don't have to go hunting for it on Shopify. The link will be there automatically. You have like a little storefront, so that's hopefully going to be set up in the next few days. They've got to okay it, you know, but yeah, hopefully I'll qualify for that.
So now your fans can just click on and buy
if they want to build from a plan. A lot of people don't know where to start, which is fair enough. Which is, I wouldn't say it was a beginner's. Well, I don't know. The laser cut kit actually was really pretty well cut, and parts fitted quite nicely. So if it was your first build, I've written the instructions, like we said earlier, as if you were talking to a child, how to assemble it. So, but then I'm always available. A lot of designers aren't available for, you know, contact. I'm available if anyone has problems. So,
well, I think this is one of the good things about YouTube and what we do is that, you know, you'll have somebody out there who will buy a kit or a plan or something, and then they'll find an RC group or ask questions. But if there's somebody there who's physically showing you how to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's 10 times easier because you can then translate things.
That's right. You can do a build video, but it's surprising. No matter what you include in the video, there's always something you cut out which you thought was obvious, and it's not. And someone always asks the question, and you think, "What did I cut that bit for?" You know. Several people have asked. So anyway, the next video you include that, and you slowly improve. I mean, well, I mean, how long have I been doing YouTube videos? I mean, I've been on YouTube, I don't know, 15 years or something, but it's only in the last 3 or 4 I've been doing build videos and the such like, because they don't exist and people appreciate them. And some of the videos are little Gwillows rubber powered models. This one, the Gwillows bird dog, rubber powered, American Gwillows, of course, was really very successful video, if you like, because people don't know how to build little aeroplanes and tissue cover them, especially. And because to me, I mean, it's all stuff we were doing when we were teenagers, been tissue covering for 50 years, and things have changed a little bit, but
essentially it's the same kit, same model. And you know, okay, some of the materials that you can get nowadays didn't have in those days. And
that's right. I mean, the other ones more newer is the Henson's flying machines, which is a British company, English, which are similar sort of construction but tissue covered, and I converted this one from their rubber powered free flight to 4-channel RC, you know, and I've got a video on my channel, and that flies extremely well as well. In fact, they've just made a double size one as well. So I was keen to mention Henson's because their Dane Henson, the owner's very, very keen to market the Da Vinci Flyer.
Oh, so really?
He's very keen to produce the kits and send them out. So we're sort of working towards a kit on that.
What you know? Do you have any pricings for that?
I would
mention that.
Well, we haven't finalised anything, but I would think it's going to be around the £80 mark.
Yeah.
Because there's so many. Everyone wants a bite. You know, the shops are going to stock it. Yes, you can order it straight from Henson's website, and they'll post it out. He's also got a contact in America which sells some Henson's kits. So there's a good chance he'll send a couple of pallets of kits over to the States, so people in the States won't have to pay the postage, which is quite exciting, because I've got a few people over there who said they'd love a kit, but the postage is, you know, prohibitive. So Dane will send over, I think he sent 4 pallets of aeroplanes over earlier this year. So so they're very popular over there, and they're gaining ground, and Dane's incredibly enthusiastic. So he's also got 3D printer and laser cutter and a couple of guys working with him now. So yeah, it's he's a good guy, and I like supporting the British manufacturer, of course.
Yeah, it seems that America and Australia and probably the Czech Republic, model making seems to be more, I don't know whether the right word is popular. But for some reason in the UK, it always seems to be guys our age, or you know, and I don't know why the younger people don't seem to pick it up so much, which is a shame, because when
they don't need to, do they? Because they can buy them off the shelf.
Yeah.
But quite honestly, it seems to me the old slogan "Balsa flies better." It actually does. It feels different in the air. I mean, like this one. I got my little ones hanging on this wall. You have to excuse my stomach. That was this one's all carbon and foam. That was a Dancing Wings Savage Bobber. But you know, for a 4-channel aeroplane, it flies incredibly well. It weighs, I think it's about 1.5 ounces. For a big aeroplane, it's the same weight as the little Henson's one. But you know, there's no balsa in that at all, apart from the little bit I added just to hold the receiver in. But you know, that flies incredibly well, and that's all carbon framed at the back. But the skills,
an indoor flyer?
It could be, yeah, it'll handle a breeze as well. But I mean, all little aeroplanes handle breezes. It's just, can you fly them in a breeze? You know, are you skilled enough? But that sort of construction is very, very different to a balsa wood model, and the skills don't really transfer. You know.
I think one of the advantages of building with balsa is that you can easily repair them. Whereas if you've got something like a kit of foam or something, it doesn't naturally, unless you got, you know a few tricks, like say perhaps you and I might know, is once you've dented a foamy, it's difficult to get. I mean, you can get the dents out and stuff.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. It's a different technique. I mean, you pour like boiling water on it and stuff like that. Yeah. I've never tried that. When I dented my Spitfire, I just cut out a chunk of balsa, glued it in and shaped it round.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could pour boiling water on it and get the dents out.
You have to be a little bit careful, because otherwise you get this what do they call it, turtling effect.
Oh right.
It sort of goes all grainy and sort of hard and stuff. So you have to be careful. I tend to put a towel over it.
Oh right.
And then do it, and then it sort of naturally sort of comes back. But it takes more than one application, I've found. If you try and do it all in one go, you're going to end up getting that.
I have found actually that when you're doing a build video, it's not a good idea to have the camera below eye level, because you're looking down and your face falls off. You know, you look 20 years older. Far better to have the camera up there and it all falls back and you look younger.
Well, one of the joys that I have found with camera work is you're actually concentrating on what you're doing, and you forget the camera. You're talking to the camera.
Yeah.
You forget where it is, and then you think, oh, hang on, can they see that? And you just done 20 minutes worth of work, and you think, yeah, I've got to do it again now.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, on my camera sometimes, because I use the back camera, because it's better than on my front one, so I can't see what I'm recording.
Yeah.
So occasionally, once in a blue moon, I'll be recording from the wrong camera, so you can hear my voice, but I'm looking out the window, you know. So again, I mean, you can't re-record something you've just all glued together, so you've just got to start the video halfway through the build. I've done that, but you know, what can you do?
Well, the other thing is, if you're using more than one camera, you've now got to essentially edit twice.
Yeah.
And it takes twice as long to edit it.
The best tip I heard when you're recording from two cameras is to start the recording and do that, and then you've got two sound spikes which you can line up.
Yeah.
And the rest is easy. But trying to line up a voice and a bit of video that are separate is a nightmare.
Well,
you've got to wait till you do something that makes a slight noise. You get a sound spike. Yeah.
Well, I try to hide it by making it obvious. So, I'll click your fingers, crack a joke, click your finger. But what I'm really doing, it's for the editing.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And a lot of people, I mean, if you don't make YouTube videos, a lot of people don't know this stuff. And I've watched, well, you watch videos, don't you, on how to do stuff and light stuff and etc. And you're learning all the time. But when you look back at your early videos, you go, oh, Lord, that's just dreadful sound. I mean, they do say if the sound is good, people will watch a substantial video as long as they can hear it. If they can't hear it, but the actual camera work is superb, what's the point? You know, they'll just click off. Yeah. I want people to stay on my channel and videos, and I know sometimes we're a bit lacking. I don't introduce the video at the beginning, because if you watch the last four, you know, it's just a continuation, but really each video should self-stand. I should say something like, welcome back to the channel, guys. This is part 4 of the builder so-and-so, so-and-so. If you want to watch the other 3 parts, I'll link to them below, but for the minute or at the end, but we'll get on with the video now.
Yeah. Well,
I get so excited. I don't say it. And then you think, well, perhaps I can go back and say that. And then it's completely different lighting, natural lighting's changed to hard, and it just doesn't go. So you just don't remember to say stuff like that. And signing off, you don't sometimes. I'll tell you a little trick.
Go on.
I think it's a helicopter. A little trick is to, when you say go up to the field and record a video, you'll see me say, in today's video, we're going to test fly this model, and hopefully it's going to go all right, but we'll have to see because I've changed the whatever. But you actually do that after you've done the flying, because you don't know what's going to happen. That's assuming it's in one bit and you're going to show it. So you can say what you're going to do. You know what you're going to do because you've just done it.
Just done it, yeah.
And then, of course, you can at the same time then stop for a second and say, right, guys, thanks for watching the video, because you can make things look however you want on the video, can't you? But it's a great medium. It's a huge learning curve, as you know. I mean, I just use a fairly simple software to edit, but it can do much more than I can ever do. But it does what I want it to do. Yeah. And you can zoom in, like, you know, if I'm quite small here on my camera, on my software, I could zoom right in, which is great. And sometimes you can zoom out, but if you're already standing next to the camera, you can't zoom out if you're already sitting too close to the camera. So I'll set the camera up a little way away and just zoom in a little bit to what I'm doing, or maybe I'm sitting there without trousers on or something. So you go, oh look, people can see me, my underpants. No, edit this bit out. I
have done videos.
Well, you can leave it in.
I haven't been wearing a shirt because it's been that hot. And I think, well, they're only going to see my arms.
Yes. Yeah. And then you realise you're highly visible in the reflection of the window.
yeah. They'll see all my tattoos and stuff. Yeah. You know. No,
the other thing I love about YouTube is I always try and answer comments. I encourage comments. I try and answer I always answer the comments because that's how you build community. And we've got regulars, you know, what have I got? About 4,500 subscribers. I mean, some subscribers subscribe for these sorts of planes, some subscribe for other sorts, some just subscribe because they'll follow me, whatever I do. I could be out in the garden mowing the lawn. I have to do that video one day. I have actually got a video on my channel of how to erect runner bean sticks, which I put up over 5 or 6 years ago. And I'll tell you what, it is the best way. There's loads of videos on how to put up runner bean sticks, but I reckon my way is the best way. I've never had them blown down, and you know, we've got our runner beans.
Have you actually got any runner beans?
Oh yeah. I've just taken a bag over to Mum's. Actually, she loves them as well.
No runner beans.
Yeah, but the sticks is a technique to get it just perfect, and I've developed it over the years of growing runner beans. So I reckon my way is the best.
So that brings me on to a really good segue to Around the Pole.
Ah, excellent.
Tell me about Round the Pole. What started that? And then I'll ask you a different question, but it's related to that. Tell me about Round the Pole.
Right. What started Round the Pole? One word: COVID. Okay. We were all grounded, and I thought, I've got to do something for the channel and for my own sanity. So what can I do? And I thought, well, I've got lots of little models, and back in the late 70s, 80s, Round the Pole was popular, and just little profile models with a Scalextric motor and a copper wire going out to take the motor out. I thought, I wonder if I could make any of my rudder control models fly around the pole. And I started off by doing a couple of video of I had a couple of bean sticks, nice segue, with strings on, with a Fokker triplane and Sopwith Camel, no, an SE5, and I was just zooming them around each other. They were blowing around in the breeze. I was going around the garden and sort of zooming, a bit like puppets, you know. And I thought, this is great. And when I edited it all together, you can see it on the channel, it looked great with some music, and people were just looking on YouTube for entertainment, and they latched onto that, and I got loads of subscribers from that. So I thought, this is great. So I've got all my rudder control models. I'm just looking at some of them here. I've got the triplane here. Look, this is a Microaces model, rudder control, 3-channel, but it flies not bad considering it's got no dihedral. Yeah. But Round the Pole, these go fantastic. So you've got, unlike the early Round the Pole, you've got elevator control, set a bit of right rudder to keep the line tight, and throttle. So away you go. So you're flying these things, and my string line, fishing line, quite lightweight, is about 16 foot. So you're flying a 32-foot circle, and it takes probably 4 or 5 seconds to go around. And it's jolly exciting. You are flying it. You are in control. You can make it go up and down. And I've even managed to get a model to loop quite nicely. And so you've got a bit of stunting going on. That's where your control line experience comes in handy, because you always do your stunts downwind so the line stays tight. If you don't, you'll soon find out, because the line goes slack. You've got no control. Well, you've got full control, but it's tied to a pole, so you can't do anything other than fingers crossed.
Well, there's another thing you see. You mentioned control line. Now, we're both members of different clubs, and there's a chap who insists on the groundsman mowing the grass into a circle because he likes to do control line. And he keeps talking about it. I've never seen him do it. I've never seen this guy do it. And I've never seen control line flown since I was a child, because I had a control line. I had a P40.
Oh yeah.
I had a Cox 049 engine on it, and I could never get the damn thing started.
Yeah.
Couldn't start the thing as much as I tried. But I haven't seen control line in the flesh, but for many years, and I was considering making one just to show people how it's done, because it's like one of those forgotten things. And
I think it's probably, well, they do it up the BMFA centre, don't they? They've got a control line circle.
I believe so. Yeah, it's up in Leicester.
Yeah, and I've seen videos on YouTube. It's electric control line now, so you've got no starting problems, and of course you can. I think they fly them. They must have elevator control. I can't remember, but anyway, they're electric and they're buzzing around. But having flown around me a couple of times, ready to control, because our patch, my local club, this one, Exeter District, ours is cut into a circle. So if there's nobody else up there, you can stand in the middle, because you don't fly behind the flight line, of course. But if you're on your own, you stand in the middle, and you can fly around yourself, control line style. And that makes a great video, because the background's blurred and the plane in theory is sharp. But I can do 2 circuits and I'm ready to fall. You know, you suddenly realise when you're young, you can whiz round and round and round and round and round and round, and it doesn't affect you. But when you get older, you can't do that. So that's where aerobatics comes in handy, because you can stop and do a loop and a bunt and a bit of, or unwind, go inverted the other way, unwind a little bit. But you know, you can't do that around the pole really, but you're outside the circle, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I flew, I think I've got about 12 little models, flown them all around the pole, and some of the bigger ones. And unfortunately, just to bring us all the way back to runner beans, my Newport biplane, which was a Guillo's kit, I've still got it actually, it's hanging up. It's quite big, 22, 23 inch. Caught the end of the runner bean stick sticking out, and it came a cropper. And when I picked up the pieces, only 3 or 4 bits, I'd lost the bright red cowling.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I thought, well, where's that? And it was buried down in the cabbages, which was in the next bed. And I think the thumbnail for the video is something like, "What's that hiding in the cabbage patch?" You can just see a glimpse of red.
How long did it take you till you found it?
Oh, not long. A couple of minutes. It had to be there somewhere, but had it been slightly higher, it had gone through the greenhouse.
Oh. I thought you was going to say, like, we didn't find it till we dug up the cabbages for our
test. No. I knew it was there. I was determined to. Well, it's all part of the video, isn't it? You know, your exploits. You know, and I think that's what people. Some people have commented that they like following me because I'm sort of genuine. You know, they just follow me for me and you know, my exploits really, which is great. I don't make them too polished. There's no point. There's no point in. I mean, you know, the Patrinsic brothers, of course, Captain Blas and Robert. They don't edit anything, do they? They start recording, film the thing, finish recording, and upload it. There's no editing. There's cussing and some slightly close to the knuckle jokes. They've also done videos of them cooking their sausages, you know, on their barbecues and making stew and all that. And it just shows you the human side of it, which you don't see on a lot of presenters, you know, what happens behind the scenes. I have
to admit, there are a lot of, especially American, our cousins, you know, where they have 2 guys and they go, "Well, hey, Bob, what do you think of this?" "Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, John." and though, you know, it's something one person could do.
Yeah,
And having a conversation and say, well, this mouse, it's dark in colour. Look at the little light. Oh yes, are you mental?
yes. Yeah.
You know,
That's brilliant.
It's comical, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is that human element to things, especially, you know, which I try to put in. I try to put my humour in as much as I can. I think sometimes I fail. Somebody doesn't get it. you got to tell a joke, make it so you can be understood. But this is the other side of things, where, you know, you are a human being, you are fallible, and sometimes, like, you know, you've made 2 left wings, and it just go like,
who would do that?
Who would do that? You know, you nonsense.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about, and this is what I started my channel, because I wanted people to not only show me how to do certain things I've never done before, but also how not to do something. And when you lean on something, you break it, you think, stupid little thing, like put your elbow in the glue.
Oh, I did that the other day. I'd mixed up some epoxy, and I had a fair amount left over, which is unusual for me because I'm usually just not quite enough. And I thought, well, I'll keep that there a minute because I'm going to think of something I can use. I've got 15 minutes to think of something. And of course, you forget that it's there. And you do literally put your elbow in it, and you realise you picked a piece of paper up on your, oh, God, blimey. Fortunately, I had short sleeve shirts, so you could sort of start getting it off your hair and all the rest of it, you know, epoxy. I've got some sort of thinners back there, which does quite a good job, actually. So.
Yeah, I have to admit, sometimes you do end up making the scene as reminiscent of some mothers do have them.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Our American friends, I don't know if they have the equivalent of that. I'll have 6 or 7 hours worth of video, and you've got to condense it down to, you know, if it goes up to 20 minutes, you know, people are falling asleep, unless it's a how to build video, and then they're going to sort of follow each section by section. But well,
this is something I have been doing recently. I've noticed my videos are getting longer and longer and longer. But the thing is, you're in a flow.
Yes,
you're in
exactly.
A flow. Yeah. And you know you only really want to do 20 minutes, but you go, but this relates to this, and I can do this while that's drying and stuff. You're so into it.
Yeah.
I think, and then when you come to put it together, I think, blimey, it's 45 minutes there.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't want to take this bit out because you're going to lose something further down. And
exactly, and that's the bit someone's going to say, you didn't show us how you stuck A to B, you know, what can you do? Yeah,
and then you get somebody saying use scissors.
Well, it did work well. Watching somebody, well, I mean, everyone struggles. It's great that you put on, no one's an expert. No. I watch some people who I consider to be huge experts, but they've done it for decades, of course. But when you watch somebody who's teaching something they don't know how to do themselves, it's great fun. And you can't help but say, do you know what? Next time you do it, try doing it this way. And actually, that's great feedback, because as long as you take it in the spirit it was given, as in, you know, a tip, an instruction, not in order. You blimmin' fool, you know, what are you doing it like that for? You'd have found it a lot easier doing it this way. Then everyone learns, don't they? And you can try it next time. But it was painful watching you do that, I must admit.
Well, the reason I don't use scissors is because when I was growing up and making models and stuff, I couldn't find any sharp scissors. My mother didn't have any sharp scissors. No. So I just used to use, actually, well, I'll tell you what I used to use, Dad's razor blades.
Yeah, I was going to say razor blade,
Yeah, you used to use Gillette, and in those days, I don't know whether the kids will know this or not, but there was a very thin flat blade with a squiggly sort of bit in the middle.
Yeah.
That you had to mechanically put it in, and I used to use his old ones and use those.
Yeah.
So I just got used to using a blade or a knife, and to me, to go around like that just seems totally natural.
Me too. And I'll tell you what, I've never used scissors before I watched Jeff in Lower Alabama. He built his first aeroplane, SIG 4-star 40, I think it was.
Yeah.
It's his first balsa build, inspired by me, he said. and because he flies a lot of foam aeroplanes and jets and stuff, and they're great just to watch somebody on the other side of the world. Jeff in LA, and you think Los Angeles? No, actually Lower Alabama. But he's flying his models and they're great, and he's this normal bloke, but he decided to build his own plane, and then he covered it. And covering your first plane is quite difficult. He watched videos and such like, but then he started using scissors to cut around really quite a lot. And I thought, do you know what, that looks so easy, because that plastic film blunts the blade really quickly, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
And he was using scissors. I thought, do you know what, I'm going to try that next time. And so now I use probably scissors half the time. But then, you know, so I've learned off of Jeff and he's learned off of me. So if you're watching, Jeff, thanks for that, mate. That's excellent.
Well done, Jeff.
Yeah. So you know, a year ago I wouldn't have said anything, but now I know that scissors are better because I've seen somebody else do it. And isn't the internet wonderful for this, for learning stuff from each other? I belong to quite a few specialist Facebook groups, the Gwillows group, and well, all sorts of World War I groups and what have you.
Yeah.
And you learn so much from the guys. I mean, like the color scheme for my big triplane. I'll angle you up slightly just so people know what I'm talking about. Can you see that?
Yeah.
The color scheme for that. Oh yeah, I went too far. The color scheme for that showing on the internet is blue and white. I thought that's different. I'll do blue and white.
Yeah.
When I went onto the forum, they said, do not do it blue and white. That's somebody's idea of what it should have looked like, but he never flew blue and white aeroplanes. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I did it red and white. This is August Raven, Lieutenant August Raven, German pilot, and he flew with that Raven symbol on the side, which I quite like. So,
Cliff, what do you have on the building board for us to see next?
Well, funny you should ask that, Nick, because
it's a coincidence.
I've actually had. I put a question on my community tab. I put somebody tongue in cheek asked me, when am I going to build something other than Da Vinci? And I said, well, look, this is what I'm building at the moment. What do you think, guys? Should I tone it down a bit? Because I've got about 25 Da Vinci videos now. Everything I put up is Da Vinci. I thought maybe I'm boring everybody. So anyway, loads of people said, no, carry on doing what you're doing. It's your channel, do what you like. So yeah, okay, that's what I'll do. And then a couple of days later, somebody else has actually put something similar. I thought, that's funny. So I said, what would you like me to build? I can, what would you like me to video? I can always review a foamy model or something. And he didn't answer me, which was great. But it was sort of, I'm not knocking anyone that reviews or flies foam models because I love watching them and flying them myself. But I thought, well, what do you want? What do you want to see? If you don't like what I'm doing, then go and watch another channel, you know? Anyway, that aside, I'm actually going to build, I'll just get it in the box ready. One of my subscribers, Pete Millwood, who lives up in the Midlands somewhere, very kindly sent me a model which he thought I might enjoy building as a winter project. This big box he sent me, I thought, oh Lord, what's in that? I've no idea. He said it'd be a surprise.
You're a flat box, are you? That'll be.
It's a big flat.
It's a box. Yeah.
And
pump some air into it, Cliff.
Some air.
Yeah, pump some air into it.
Yeah. And it's basically a box of polystyrene, lots of bits.
Oh, is that a jet fighter?
Well, sort of. He even popped in an ESC and a motor, which was very kind of him.
Okay.
Pete sent me the Luobo Autogyro as well, which is hanging above my head because he couldn't get on with it. He crashed it a couple of times. I've crashed it loads of times, but it's taught me a little bit how to fly autogyros. But basically, it's called a Polaris, and it's a sort of a float plane.
Ah, yes, this is something the Russians came up with, I believe.
Well, it's not. Well, it's not one of those that fly just above the water.
Oh,
what do they call those?
Yeah, I know. I'm losing the will to speak English. I'm looking at a cup and I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I can't think. Something plain. But anyway, it's a float plane, but it'll take off on wet grass or even grass.
Yeah.
It's got a high mounted motor up on the fin.
Yeah.
And it'll be a bit of fun. So I'm going to be putting that together. So on the strength of that, I bought myself another packet of Yoo-Hoo Pour.
That's great stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was introduced to this on the Microaces kits, because you can actually, if you mess up a joint, you can use a bit of lighter fluid and it just melts the glue away and you can have another go at it. And that's
also there's a topical tip. Now you just reminded me, is if you want to melt glue, usually that's like hot glue.
Yeah.
Rubbing alcohol. It works almost instantly and turns the glue into like a jelly.
Oh,
and you can pull it apart. Yeah. And I found this out half by accident, because on my channel I've got some pages where I convert little gliders, and you have to prise the canopy off. And I've seen people using screwdrivers and knives, and I think what you got to do is just find a little gap, pour in the rubbing alcohol, leave it half a minute, and pull it off with your hand.
Right.
People are doing the strangest things.
Yeah.
But it's lighter glue is very good.
I have done one, and I ended up having to use a hacksaw blade to get it was stuck like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, there's a nice chunk of weight in the nose as well, isn't there? Which is pretty good.
They have I think it's a large ball bearing they have in there.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. And I have a replica Baker rifle in the lounge. I'm thinking about stuffing it down the end of that and see if I can fire it.
Oh,
Don't tell anybody.
Who at?
I've got a video of that. Yeah. Face anyway. But it's strange how you pick these things up off YouTube channels like your lighter fluid or you're using alcohol, and you're thinking like, that's so simple. Yeah, it's so simple, Yeah. But again, I've just finished a video on a project I'm not going to talk about right now, where I don't know whether I told you this or not. I had something stuck in a tube, and I couldn't get it out. And I thought, then I remember something my father taught me, because when I was a young man, I was courting a girl called Mandy, who had an Austin Allegro. If you remember the Austin Allegros.
Yes, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and we had to change the wheel bearing, and the wheel bearings are pressed in.
Yeah.
And my dad went, we can't afford to do that. So what we'll do is we'll get the new bearing, put it in the freezer, get the old bearing, heat it up, put it in the oven, heat it up, and then it just drops in.
Yeah.
And it works the opposite way around. So what I did is, you'll see the video in about a month's time, maybe 6 weeks' time, where I take this thing out of the tube, I put it in the freezer, it all contracts, and then you put hot water on the metal bit that expands quicker than the other bit, and it comes out straight out. And when you see things like that, you just kind of like, that's so simple.
Yeah.
That's why I think people need the likes of you, probably less than me, that come out with these little tricks.
That's why it's called YouTube. It should be called MeTube. So you said something then, Nick. You said see that video in a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
So if you don't film anything for a month, you've still got stuff to show?
I have got lots of things on the boil. I haven't posted the latest video just yet because I've been actually finishing editing my next project, which I'm keeping a little bit of a secret. But what it will, I think you already know what it is, so don't go letting it out just yet. Yeah. But it's something.
It's between me and you.
And all of them.
That's a clue.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, what I will say is, actually, I was going to try and avoid talking about this, but the one I'm doing currently after the Fucker DR1, nobody on YouTube has done a build on it. There's one or two who's flown it, but nobody's done a build on it.
Right.
And nobody's done it. So
it's a kit. Yeah, it's a kit then.
It's a kit. It is a kit. It's a very, very simple kit.
Yeah.
And I've done it within 5 episodes.
Oh,
So
right.
it's very quick and easy to do.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of airbrushing anyway, so I've airbrushed it, and it looks reasonable.
Yeah.
We're going to shut up about that now because we'll let the cat out of the bag.
You see, the thing with my channel is, I mean, I've got one video waiting to edit. Normally I've got nothing. I'm always right up behind. So if I was ill for a week, which I'm never ill, but thankfully, but if I was ill for a week, you wouldn't see a video for a week.
Yeah.
I've got nothing in reserve. I film, and I unusually, like with the DaVinci biplane, the DaVinci bat, and the little foamy one, which is just above me, and the parachute drop, I filmed all in one morning. God, it was hot up there. But so I had 4 videos out of that one session, but that's very unusual. Normally I'll video, film, upload, film something during the week. But if I'm working, then you might have to burn the midnight oil to get that video done. And then you'll edit it on the Friday, upload it on the Saturday. Try not to say Thursday night, Jeff does his live stream, so I don't upload then. But that's usually, it's 12:30 midnight for us. It's 7:30 for him, but I've caught the odd one if I'm on lates or something. And then Friday, of course, Chris, Dad's RC Hangar, he puts his Friday feeling video up, which is just whatever he's done that week, a little bit of building in the shed or a bit of flying. And I think this week he flew his first freebie model. He had a freebie. And he flew it really well. And I commented, I said he was flying it in a breeze near some big trees to try for shelter. He thankfully didn't fly into the tree, but I said flying that little aeroplane will sharpen your skills enormously for when you're flying a big one, because the little ones actually take more skill, I think.
Yeah.
They're more affected by wind and all that sort of stuff, unless you've got AS3X or safe, or I don't fly with any of that stuff.
No, I don't.
I've not got anything like
that.
that.
I know a man who does.
Yeah.
I know a man who does. Hello, Tim.
Oh, Tim, gosh, yeah. Of course, yes. Tim's got everything, hasn't he? And the cream on top, hasn't he? Like, yeah. But that's his interest, isn't it?
Without mentioning Tim, because he's going to get upset if we don't mention him.
Oh, well, we love Tim's videos, don't we? And his accent.
Yeah, I do. Actually, I quite like his hat. I don't know what his hat's made of. It looks like it's made of some sort of hard plastic or something. I don't know, but it looks like a miner's thing. I don't know. Change your hat.
And the funny thing is, like, you're in your kitchen at the moment, but I mean, I'm lucky because I've converted the garage. The car has to sit outside garage or garage, whichever you like to call it, into a modelling room, which is great. And I've also got a little room next door, which is actually the back end of the garage. It was like a double length, which is where I do all my computer stuff. And there's loads of other airplanes in there too, little ones. So I've got, this is my hangar, Cliff's hangar, which my daughter painted, you know, obviously from my backdrop, which you can't see because the plan's over it, but that appears in a lot of videos now.
Because I remember asking you about that some time ago.
Yeah.
I said, oh, my daughter did it. I thought, wow, she's got a skill.
Yeah. She just had our first grandchild, actually. So.
Oh, okay. Congratulations.
Very nice. Thanks. Yeah, she's a little gorgeous bundle of fun, of course.
Yeah.
They all are, aren't they? And
wait till she gets to the screaming bit.
Well, as long as it's not near me, that's fine. But I shall try and indoctrinate her into the wonders of balsa wood, you know, obviously, and probably a little polystyrene glider or something. With,
that's the way.
I don't know, Grandpa Cliff or whatever they want to call you these days. Hopefully, it'll be something nice, whatever they can pronounce, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Something silly and it'll stick.
Yeah, that's good fun. Anyway, she paints those sorts of stuff, and she's very artistic, very good at it, and she loves doing it. So
yeah, she's quite.
I've used her to my advantage there. But behind that, on my early videos, is just the wall and a radiator and the deep freeze, you know. So not very good. But I wanted a backdrop, which was 1940s, and I did a bit of Googling to see what an officer's mess looked like, and And there it is. It's quite nice. I'm quite pleased with it. The clock is real, of course.
Well, I was about to say that clock looks pretty realistic, and the way she's making the hands move all the time.
Yeah.
But there again, the clock blends in okay. So you know.
It's designed. I designed it. It had a clock. Yeah, I said I want the clock now. So you
have to wind it up.
Yeah. But I've got direct access out from the side door straight out to the car from my planes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm well sorted here. And being a garage, the floor is actually 2 foot lower than the rest of the house, and actually it means the ceiling's 2 foot higher, so I can hang models like the triplane and the big shot with camel up and not hit my head because I'm 6'2", and I can still walk under them nicely. So that's a huge advantage. Of course, I've got lots of stuff hanging on the walls, and I'm, to be honest, running out of space.
Yeah.
So that's where the little models that I've counted them up. I've got like 60 aeroplanes. They're not all ready to fly because I think I've got about 10 receivers. So you don't fly them all. So if I'm flying a model for 6 months, I'll have a receiver out. If I haven't flown it for 6 months, I'll pull the receiver out and put it in the next aeroplane. Receivers are pretty cheap because most of mine are Spectrum. I've got a Grawp no radio set, but those receivers are 60, 70 quid each or something. And you know, why put that in when you can put a 10 quid receiver in? So, yeah. And I've never had any problems with signals loss or anything anyway. So, you know, besides which a lot of them are little. And in the winter time, we get together at a local sports hall and we fly our indoor models, of which I've got loads. So that's good fun as well. But I've just rejoined my old club, which is a 20-minute drive away because the flying times are dawn till dusk, whereas my local flying club, it's 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and invariably the wind drops after 7 p.m. in the summertime, and that's when you want to fly.
That's
you know,
fly.
So I've rejoined my other club, which is great anyway, which is where I flew the latest round of Da Vinci planes up there. It looks like a big cornfield or grass field, but there is a mown strip on the top. But as the undercarriage is, well, as I'm throwing them, and there's a good chance they're just going to go plop. I want long grass, thank you very much. So that's why I'm flying. Another reason up there.
Strange enough, I had somebody say to me, never land into long grass, it's like doing a sudden stop. And I went like,
it can be. I mean, you would if you land fast, it is a sudden stop. But if you come in and, you know, sort of not stall it as such, but belly flop it in.
I recommend doing maidens into long grass, you know, because you know, if it's under some sort of control, you can land it fairly flat,
of course,
pick it up, and it still be in the same shape as you threw it. You know, if you just got hard hands, it's a
exactly. A good tip actually, if you do arrive a little bit hard, is always try and leave a marker where you've been, because you get home, you find there's something missing, a wheel. As you know, and you think, well, where was it? So you can go back to your marker, which might just be a stick or anything, whatever it is, and you can usually hunt around in a very small area and find the bit that you've lost, you know. So that's something I've sort of developed, having arrived a few times a little bit hard. I'm just going to cough. I'll have a sore throat tonight. So what I've done on the Da Vinci biplane, I'm quite pleased with this. It wasn't turning right very well. There's no warps in the wings, but I've put extensions on the elevators, or ruddervators, to give me more control flow, and they're like barn doors going up and down now. And I've given it a bit of nose weight, but the piece I cut off the back of the elevator to give me a straight line to work towards, I stuck on the nose. Oops, I stuck on the nose. These little bits here.
Oh, yes.
And they look kind of like exhaust manifolds or something, you know?
Yeah.
They're all covered. They're nice straight line. I just dropped them on with a bit of CA. And so you got this rather fancy looking, where are we? Where's the camera?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah,
a little bit like that. I thought, what a bit of fun. One of the criteria for this aeroplane was straight lines aren't allowed. Everything has to have style and shape. The cutout is the same shape as my MG that I had, which was in 1950s. So suicide doors that open back to front.
Oh.
And you've got these lovely deep cutouts where you can just rest your elbow when you're driving. So that's I can send you a picture if you like, if you want to insert it here. Just to show you.
I can edit that in if I ever discover how to do this properly.
Yeah, that was a 1951 MGTD, which was very popular. They're very popular. Most of them went to America after the war as part of the rebuilding Britain exports, you know. So all these cars went out. I think they made about 23,500, something like that, and there was only a couple of thousand in the UK. And you had to wait months to get one, and when you did, you weren't allowed to sell it for 2 years in case you were just like profiteering by buying and selling for a huge profit. So anyway, I rebuilt one. Took me 3 years, nut and bolt from the chassis up, and it was stunning. Beautiful car. Really, really loved it. But when we moved house, if you haven't got a garage, because it's stuffed full of aeroplanes, a car which is, well, 61, it's 2001, that's an old car, isn't it? They suffer out in the wind and rain. So
yeah, it's strange. I was thinking to myself just yesterday, I can't remember the last time I saw a rusty car.
Oh yeah, modern cars don't rust. You can go up the breakers yard and they're all beautiful cars. They're just worn out, aren't they?
Yeah.
This, you know, the cars in the 60s you had, they were rust buckets, weren't they? You know,
well, especially those Vauxhall Vivas.
Oh, the Vauxhall Vivas were dreadful. I was more into me Ford Cortinas and Morris Minors, actually.
Yeah. Well, I had all sorts of different cars, and I had Capris and all sorts of things.
Oh,
and it's probably because I think Leyland they started painting these cars brown. I think the only reason they did it is to hide the rust.
That was dreadful. The likes of your Allegro, like you mentioned earlier on, and they were brown and dreadful cars, really. Yeah. And you don't see any on the road because they rusted out donkey's years ago.
All rusted out. They all had the vinyl roofs on. I think that was also another trick to hide the rust.
I like the vinyl roofs. I thought they added a nice bit of style, you know. But
they did to Capri.
It was called a like two-tone in effect, like the cars in the 50s were all two-tone, weren't they?
Ah, now you're hitting on to my favourite, the Austin Healey BT7.
The which one?
The 3-litre Austin Healey BT7.
Oh, very nice.
Two-tone, light blue and cream.
Yeah.
That looks absolutely. Ooh.
Yes, yeah. Inside the chrome strip, wasn't it? Like.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like straight down the middle, was it? Like, not like the early Ford Mark II consoles and all that were two-tone top and bottom, weren't they? I
always describe the Austin Healey BT7 as a female in a car version. It's like a beautiful lady, you know. Yeah. It's got all the curves in all the right places and everything.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. A thing of beauty. A thing of beauty.
Beauty, which they don't do anymore.
No, you can't look at a modern car and say, "Wow, you can see the female shape in it," can you? You know,
it's all spoilt now. But,
yes, I'll puff my chest out. I don't look so old. Too late for that.
We're phones to cars now, so
too late for that. I tell you what, my channel is Inspire, Build and Fly. Yeah. When I started my channel banner, it was just model aeroplanes or something, and then somebody said I had build and fly because I was building and then flying. And then I had loads of people commenting, inspire. You always inspired me to do this, or inspired me to do. Oh, what great word! And fantastic to be able to inspire somebody. I'm inspired by people as well. Not you, of course.
Not taken, Cliff.
No, that's a joke. Everyone's inspirational in their own way. And so I added that to my channel because slogan, because so many people said, "Oh God, Cliff, you know, you've inspired me to try this or try that," and you think that's quite a responsibility. You've inspired somebody. But I say, you know, some people, it's easy to get a bit jaded in the hobby or sport, as some people call it. You know, if you continually fly the same aeroplane week in, week out, you're going to fall asleep at the sticks. So I always say, try something different. Try building something. Try flying a scale model instead of an aerobatic model, or vice versa, and just see how you get on, because it really does. And to build something is a different thing altogether. You start putting a kit together, maybe not from plans, because that's, you need to maybe have a couple of kits under your belt before you do that, but to build a kit and to see your model that you built soar up into the heavens and control it, just like, and you think, oh my God, this hobby is actually really, really good. And it teaches you so much to build a kit.
That's the other thing, you see, you get some people and they build these things and they've probably not done it quite right, and they have a crash and they go, oh, well, that's it then, you know. But they shouldn't. They should pick it up and then try and figure out what they're doing wrong and rebuild it and then do it again. Yeah. And they'll probably catch it 3 or 4 times. I've certainly crashed 3 or 4 times, you know, before I sort of got things right. And I think that's, like you said, when it works, when it all comes together.
Yeah.
I done that.
Yeah.
It wasn't something I got off the shelf.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
And
if you're flying an off-the-shelf model, you're getting about, I would say, about a third of the enjoyment from the hobby. You might love it, what you do. You might absolutely, this is the best hobby in the world, but you're only getting a third of it. The other third's building it and then seeing your model flying. Yeah. That is where it really is. And when you do that, you realize you get hooked, you get obsessed. My wife thinks I'm obsessed. Am I? Was it last year I built 17 models?
Yeah, that's,
I mean, this was one of them, you know, only took a couple of days, but you know, you build 70, you think, my God, I count up how many models I've built that year. I'll do these are the models. My God, is this man obsessed? I guess so. I mean, I go to bed thinking about, at the moment, the Da Vinci's, what I'm going to do next. And then I'll go to bed, I'll wake up with the solution or a solution that might work. And then I'll go to work and I'll be watching videos. And then you come home and you try something else, or you edit a bit of video. And I suppose I do take a half an hour off in the evening, just go and watch a bit of telly just to be sociable.
Preventative maintenance.
But I mean, she knows where I am. Yeah. At least she knows where I am. You know, I'm not anywhere else.
I think it's similar with my good lady. I come in, sometimes she's here when I get in, sometimes she isn't. And I go straight down to the workshop. But that's the thing, you see, she's okay with it because she knows where I am. Yeah. I'm not seeing any other women or gambling or doing something like that. She knows I'm down the workshop cutting my fingers off.
Yeah, yeah. I do occasionally see other women, but because they're club members and they're flying. Yeah. So, you know, which is quite unusual, but I think probably most clubs might have 1 or 2 female members.
We've had one to my knowledge, and nice looking girl as well she was. But they're just going back 20 odd years, and we've not seen them since, because they obviously get a family and things. I don't know.
I don't know how women get into the hobby really, because maybe it's through their husbands. There's, what's the one down in Australia I watch sometimes? Joe. She flies flies sports models, and then she'll go up on the slope and fly Saurus. They got some fantastic sequences.
Yeah, I think did she do some review recently about radios?
Oh, if she did, I didn't see that one. Just trying to think of a name. Oh, what a shame, I can't plug her, but she knows who she is. But there's her, and there's Gina Purcell, of course, and there's another one I watch. And you think, how do these women get into the hobby? Even at my local hobby shop, of which we've got 1.5, there's a couple of girls behind the counter there. They're only in their 20s, and it's their dad's shop, really. He flies giant scale turbines, big gnats, sort of 10-foot span gnats, 20-foot long, huge display things. But I was chatting to her the other day, and she said, customer came in and said, oh, hello, dear, you probably can't help me. Is your dad around? And she said, well, what is it you want? He said, well, I'll talk to your dad. Dad, can you come? And she knew what's going to happen. Dad, can you come and help this chap? He comes out the back. Yes, sir, can I help you? He gave him in the question. He said, not sure about that. Do you know my suite? Can you answer him? Yeah. She said, yes, of course, Dad. So, and she answered him, because she knows a lot more than Dad, because she's in the shop every day, and she's building a Fokker D7 at the moment, 3rd scale one, and she's great to talk to, and they fly at the club, and they're as good at flies than anybody. Well, actually better, because they're young, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're quicker.
But it's brilliant that they're in it because Dad's in it really, and they work in the shop and what have you. But it's a shame model shops are going to the wall. But you know, we all buy stuff online. I do occasionally.
Online,
yeah. Only because sometimes I can't get to the shop. You know, so you think, well, I don't need it for 3 or 4 days. I'll just order it from your favourite model shop. Yeah. Well, anyone that sells it really, whether it's, I mean, most model shops have an eBay outlet anyway, and
But the good side about having a model shop is that you can go in there, you can touch it, you feel it, you handle it before you decide to buy it or not buy it, or whatever it is.
Or you can go in and measure it, or think, is this the? Oh, is it? I want a heavier gauge than that. Or, I didn't know that was available. And it's good. It's
you can order something online. It's not the right size. It's just, It takes it takes actually, especially when you're model making, if you want to order something online, you really have to go into the dimensions of what you need and want before you order it. Whereas if you go to the shop, you can just, does that fit that?
Or you can buy, like I might go in and just buy one piece of balsa. You can't buy one bit of balsa online.
No,
you probably can, but it costs you more to post it than it did to buy it. So
well, I mean, I use a shop called Mike's Models. It's been on one of my hanger chats, and that's been there for donkey's years. It's changed hands a few years ago, but it's still called Mike's Models. And unfortunately,
I watched that because you toured around the store.
Around the shop. Well, the people that were in there were quite genuinely customers. They weren't my mates or anything. They were just there. And the one guy said, and he started following the channel now. But, you know, but to keep the shop open now, they have to do buggies and train sets and stuff like that, which is a shame because it was a double shop. Well, it still is a double shop, and it was dedicated just to aircraft. So now it's sort of like, you know.
I mean, the delights of going past the model shop. I used to walk home from school and pass a model shop. It's long years ago, gone now, but you go in there and we'd go down into the basement section and it was just stuff full of kits, and you knew you couldn't afford any of them anyway, and you just talk to the guy, and loads of school kids would go in, me included. We just drool at all the model airplane kits that were available and think one day we'll go to, I mean, radio control was like, I don't know, £700, £800, £900 for a set. You couldn't afford a radio control set, which is why we did free flight and control line, because that was flying, and you know, that's all you could do. It was years and years later before I got hold of a second-hand set. I think it was OS, who made engines as well, but it was, oh goodness me, the servos were huge. But it worked, and we built our first model. It was a David Boddington Barnstormer, Dad and I, because Dad was into it a little bit, probably for my benefit really. And we went up the flying field, and a local guy who's still going now said, right, let's have a look at the controls. And we'd put the sort of rudder on the elevator, and the ailerons worked back to front. In fact, I don't think I had ailerons. Everything was connected up but wrong, because we had no idea. There was no internet or anything. And he said, well, we'll reconnect that on this side. And it flew with no S40 in it, actually, and it flew, and it was fantastic. And we flew around, and he just, there's a transmitter, have a go, take it back. And after a while, you were getting the hang of it. You could take off and fly around in a circle. One day we went up there and there was nobody there. And so we thought, this was long before A certificates and B certificates. We thought, well, it's a big field. When it's time to land, we'll just cut the throttle and let it glide to wherever it lands. And it landed a fair old way away. But then next time you think, oh, this is great. So next time you try and get it a bit closer and a bit closer and a bit closer, and suddenly you're landing at your feet. In fact, my mate and I used to go slope sawing a lot, and the field we used had a very small landing area. It was basically hill right up to where you were standing, so you were landing in lift. And between us, we would stick a screwdriver in the ground, and the one with the nose closest to the screwdriver would sort of win the prize that day. But that sharpens your landing skills. So now it's just a matter of keeping the throttle going till you're nearly in, and then you land, don't you? You know, but you can land.
I did something pretty similar. I mean, I couldn't really afford stuff when I was a child. I was doing paper rounds and washing cars and stuff to get money to up and buy a kit. And then the way when I managed to be able to afford some radio kit when I was a bit older, I did something very, very similar to what you did. You see, I went into gliders, I used to make, like, 3-meter length gliders and stuff like that. And the way I learned especially about landing, was if the field had been freshly cut, I'd make a little mound of grass.
All right.
And land into it.
Oh, good idea. Yeah.
And, yeah, so we'd go through it, so it skids along the ground, and I got really good at it. I'm the guy,
Yeah.
and that side is so similar. And then, like you say, slope soaring. Now, strangely enough, the Cambrian Funfighter Spitfire, it is a fantastic sloper. I don't know if you ever used Cambrian, but it's set up for IC, internal combustion.
Yeah.
So I took the motor out, put a lead weight into it, threw it, and it flies great.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, it really does.
It's like the PSS, isn't it? Power scale soaring. It's very, very popular with warbirds and, well, anything really, jet planes and that. It's a great way to fly, really. Anything that would fly slope soar. I want to have a go with the Da Vinci Flyer, actually. I'm sure that'll slope beautifully and look really vintage in the air. I've got just above me on the shelf, actually. Just want to get it down. It's not a set I've flown with, but it's a set that I acquired along the way, and I could never afford one at the time. And that is, I think it's 27 megs. So old McGregor.
I recognise that.
It's not yours, because the aerial is huge. Look at the length for that.
Yeah,
4-foot aerial.
Oh wow, it's been ages since I saw one of those.
But I've got a Sky Leader set as well, the bright yellow ones.
Yeah.
But this one, let's switch it on. I'll switch it back to front. So it's very nearly fully charged. And I guarantee you the servers will work. But what a lovely set. We had my mate, he was well off. Well, he wasn't particularly well off, but he was about 3 years older than us, so he was working. He bought a single channel McGregor set.
Yeah.
And that was the bee's knees. My God, he's got a radio control set, and he put it in a little skimming boat with an 049 on it.
Yeah.
And when the tide goes out down on Paynton Beach or Preston Beach, there's a big sort of waterway, a big sort of inside, what do you call it? Swimming pool, if you like.
Yeah.
It's only 2 foot deep, and it's got mostly rocks in it and stuff. But anyway, we had this big area, and this little balsa skimming boat, which is about this long, with an 049 on it, and because it had just full left, full right rudder. I can't remember. It must have had an escapement. I can't remember if it was a servo or what, and this little boat would go screaming across on the pond, hopping along, and then he'd turn like that. But we were so envious that McGregor set. I know the early set. Perhaps it was just a push button for left and
I think it was. Yeah. But I'm trying to remember the frequency. These was that 37 megahertz? Is it?
27.
27 megahertz.
Yeah.
That's
we went on to 35 later on, didn't we?
That's it. There was 27 and 35. I do apologise. Yeah. And I used to fly my gliders on the 27.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah, because it was with a glider you don't need an expensive radio or anything like that. We used to have the peg boards with the different coloured crystals.
That's right. Yeah.
With your name on it, you had to.
Yeah. Woe betide you if you switched on without that peg, because you just shot somebody down. Yeah.
Yeah. You get it in the neck big time.
Yeah.
Lose your membership doing stuff like that.
Yeah. But these are the joys of earlier L1. It makes you wonder what's coming, because we're using 2.4, and you bring, well, they're computer radios, and you can do anything you want, set it up precisely, little adjustments if you can work it out. What's coming? Yeah,
it's frightening how small things are getting.
Well, yes, exactly. How can that be a 4-channel proportional?
Exactly.
This weighs more than one servo when I started, and it's less than one servo, and it's 4-channel.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing I like to do, all my planes have to have pilots, and invariably I do a little silhouette you can see there, but that's me.
Aha.
But it's just a profile. It's just 2 bits of printed out paper stuck on.
I got you.
Stuck together, So.
If you're looking for ideas after your next one, there's one I'd like to build myself, and I don't know how to do it, and that's a DH7. Is it DH7?
The biplane, isn't it?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, DH. Sorry, I thought you said Fokker. The DH7.
It's DH7. It's got a triangular back, and it's a pusher. Is it DH7? I'll have to look it up.
I can't think what you're.
Yeah, you know, the Red Baron shot one down. He shot down. He was a VC winner, famous.
Brown.
No.
Brown in the SE5.
No. Brown had a Camel.
Oh yeah, who flew it? Oh, who flew the SE5, the famous one?
Oh, McCraddock. Is it McCraddock?
That's it. Yeah.
McCraddock, yeah, lovely airplane that is. I love SE5. They're one of my favourites. No, in fact, I'll draw it. I'll tell you what, I'll draw it. So it looks like.
It's de Havilland, you say?
Yeah, it looks like that.
Glasses.
It's got a propeller. There. You do know it. I know you know it.
I don't know what I was looking at there. It's just a triangle. Look like
I'll do another shape then.
Yeah.
Do another shape. This is bugging me now. It had like a scaffold back to it.
Yeah.
And then there'd be a guy sat in the front with a machine gun and the.
Oh yeah.
Like
Wait. The DH7.
I'm sure it's a DH7. Well, actually, I'm not sure it's a DH7. Ladies and gentlemen, Cliff has gone to make the tea.
No, I've gone to make a DH7.
Ah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Was I right or was I wrong?
I can't. Now you've put that in my head. I can't remember. But yeah, it's de Havilland anyway. Yeah.
Well, can somebody in the comments of this? Because I'm leaving all this in.
This particular. I was just going to say this particular model is a Microaces foamy wings.
Yeah.
This is the model which is silhouetted on my channel banner.
Yes, I've seen it.
So that's actually this model. I flew it up the local football field one summer evening. But do you know what? It's a beautiful aeroplane to fly. It's like, there's nothing difficult about it at all. The difficult bit is launching it.
Really?
Because the prop's spinning there where my hand, I can't hold it there.
I see, you might catch it, yeah.
The control rods are from the servos just there, so you can't hold it there. So you've sort of developed a technique of holding the undercarriage and just sort of lobbing it into the sky. But it goes off okay, but what a lovely flyer that is.
Yeah, well, if you can make a bigger version of that one, Cliff, I'll probably copy it. Because I've always wanted to make one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so had I, and it's a beautiful aeroplane. But what a fighter that was to have the visibility like that without the prop in the front.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic.
But, you know, it's amazing for the time when Fokker was going to sell us the interrupter gear. We went, no, we don't want it.
That's right. Yeah.
What are you thinking about?
Yeah. Because they had the brass deflector on the blades, didn't they, to deflect the bullets?
The French guy put the deflector on the blades, and he was handing it to us on a plate, and we don't know.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, Anthony Fokker, very clever man. I mean,
yeah. Oh, he
should have got him on board. Really, it would have changed the direction of the war, really, wouldn't it?
Well, direction of the war a lot earlier. That's certainly.
Yeah, I mean, how can a war go on for so many years? But then all wars, and that's why I love the First World War, because every aeroplane. How can those two aeroplanes be from the same era?
Yeah,
it's so different.
Yeah,
it's so different in every aspect, and yet they are. Well, there might have been a year or two between them, but from the same war.
And the Germans were ahead of us.
Well, they were. They even in the Second World War. But that's why I love the early aeroplanes, and that's why I love the Da Vinci style of plane, because they don't come much earlier than 500 years ago. But I mean, Da Vinci was such a clever bloke. We were looking at we were going around an old church locally yesterday, and there was the Last Supper scene on the wall. It was you know, in some sort of relief. And I said to my wife, who painted the Last Supper then? And she said, oh, I don't know. Anyway, she actually came to Da Vinci, but who knows that Da Vinci painted the Last Supper? Who knows that Da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa? Who knew that Da Vinci invented the parachute which I've yet to edit the video, but it does work.
Yes, I'm waiting to see that.
It's the last video I've got to edit from the latest series. But I managed to get it up high enough to drop the first. I did 2 drops. I might edit the first drop out. I don't know. I'll probably leave it in. It was a bundle of washing coming down. It got tangled up. But the second drop, it released quite nicely and it came floating down. And I was so busy trying to focus the hat cam on the parachute.
Oh, you let the airplane go.
I took my eye off the model and it very nearly went in. But the object was to release the parachute and sort of circle around it. It's like, but it doesn't work out like that. I have got a video that I put on maybe 3 years ago where I mounted a small camera under the parachute, one of those keyhole camera things. Not very good. But so it came down as the parachutist view, and you can see the sheep coming closer and closer and closer. Didn't hit it, but it landed next to it. Then you hear the sheep snuffling around at the camera. That landed in the next field, but all great fun. But you're trying to keep, you can't watch the parachute because you know the viewer wants to watch the parachute.
Correct.
So you have to look at the parachute and sort of look at the plane over here. So it's difficult.
But this is one of the reasons I don't tend to do filming of maiden flights and stuff, because you've got to concentrate on two or three different.
Well, you have a bit like when I made the big DR1, and it was a very short flight, wasn't it? If you remember, just sort of, it all happened very quickly. I just had the decision. I know what I should have done. I should have banged in right rudder.
I know exactly what you should have done.
Yeah. If I'd have used the rudder, it would have come out of the turn beautifully, and I'd have been away. But
you let the power off.
But I thought, well, if it's going to go in, it's going to go in not full throttle, but on tick over, and it bounced amazingly well. I was amazed how well. But that was a heart-wrenching moment to see it go in after 7 seconds and 3 months and 7 seconds. It went in, but it's ready to go, and has flown once since. I must get it up again, because there was a video I watched yesterday on Bob Barlow's channel. I think it was. He films a lot of his members' videos, and he had a bird scale triplane by a Chinese company I'd not heard of before, and he flew the triplane around in a bit of a breeze, and he was fighting it. But I thought, do you know what? Oh, God, I haven't flown my triplane. I must get it up. It's got to be flown. It's got to be flown at least half a dozen more times this year before the year's over, because, you know, it deserves to be flown. And also, if I should break it and it is unrepairable, then I should put the rudder on my wall next to other rudders.
a bit like the Baron.
Yeah.
All these different bits of aircraft is shot there.
And but I've got the radio gear I want to put into a new Da Vinci flyer, which is going to be twice size. Well, I mean, I'll build it anyway, you know, but it's just, if I should break a big model, then I've got some big kit to put in a big aeroplane.
What do you reckon to making a Da Vinci helicopter? Do you think that's feasible?
Yes and no. It's sort of been done. I watched a guy last year for a school project. I think he built the Da Vinci helicopter blade, for want of a better. He put 4 on a quad, on a drone, and revved up she went. So it does work as a aerodynamically, because it was, you know, when you do it on the computer, you can get it perfect, can't you, to its design. And he just 3D printed them out, popped them on, and up she bobbed, you know. So it's been done. So I can't do that. I'm not into helicopters like that as such, but I can do the parachute. And I did think, because he also invented the trebuchet, is it called? The fires get huge drops.
Did he invent that? I thought that was the Romans.
Or was it? Or did he invent the huge catapult? But it might have been the big giant catapult.
Maybe. I think the trebuchet was the Romans.
Yeah.
It's like a.
I'm not sure now, but either way, even the giant catapult you can mount on a Da Vinci flyer, and that would be your gun. But you've got to be careful firing stuff from the air. I mean, you can't just drop things from the air, because it's not allowed, is it? You know, but
everybody sees you.
Right. Nobody will see me. Only 10,000.
Yeah. No, they're going to be physically there, you know.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great being interviewed by the great Nick Brad. Oh Christ,
Baron Flights.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So it's been great just being interviewed by Nick of the Baron Flights and get one of his mugs because they're super great to drink from.
Super great and very, very sought after.
They are actually. Yeah, they're a limited edition. There's only 10,000 available. They're all in Nick's cupboards behind him. Actually, Nick, if you want to open them cupboards, there's all the mugs.
They all fall out.
Yeah, or cupboard collapses. There's half your stock gone.
Well, so, Cliff, can I just say thank you very much for giving me your time, your patience, and your love. And I really, really hope that you've enjoyed it, and I hope that the viewers will enjoy it too.
Yeah.
And just say thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Okay, thanks, Cliff. Very much appreciate it. And I genuinely mean that. Thank you very much for your time.
No, it's a pleasure. Well, I mean, we couldn't have done this if you hadn't told me how to fix up the Wi-Fi and all that, which is what it's all about. So.
Well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Oh, it's been a pleasure. It's been great. And I look forward to other people because I like Tim's video. He's the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And, I know you only live next door at number 66, so we could have done this together.
Actually, I'm actually this far away in this little gap thing. If I put my hand through now, you see.
Yeah. Oh. Well, that's the wrong way. It's that way.
Well, I'll have to try and get hold of Gina and see if she's up for it.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Give her a nudge if you know her. Give her a nudge.
Well, I don't know her, but I'll give her a nudge. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, cheers, Cliff.